Hey everyone, how's it going? Eli here. So this week we are discussing how we came to terms with our trans identity. So for me, okay, let's start from the beginning. Ever since I was little, I knew there was something different about me. I found myself attracted to girls, but I was raised female, and I identified as female at the time. So I thought, well, if I'm female and I'm attracted to other females, that must make me a lesbian. So around middle school, high school, like eighth grade, ninth grade, I came out as a lesbian. Um, Dated some girls. And yeah, that's how it was. I was super proud to be like gay and a lesbian, and that's how I identified for the longest time, all throughout college. It wasn't until about 2 years ago, 2 years ago, yeah, that the girl I was dating at the time just kind of out of nowhere was just like, "So how do you identify?" And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I realized that I didn't like being called a lesbian anymore. That label just didn't fit for me. I also didn't like being called a dyke, and I thought about it. I was like, I always told people, oh yeah, I'm gay. Um, um, so yeah, growing up and pretty much my whole life, I've always dressed more masculine. Was a tomboy growing up. Yeah, I just always wore boys' clothes. Um, so yeah, I started questioning my gender around 2 years ago, and to be honest, I didn't really know much. I was fortunate enough to know some trans guys in the area, and some of them had started their transition. Some of them already were a couple months, years ahead, or a couple months, years into their transition. So I turned to them a lot. I started seeing a gender therapist, and so for a bit, I identified as genderqueer because I was just like, I don't really feel female and I don't really feel male, and so I was just like, well, I'm genderqueer, and I started binding my chest every day and started going by Eli and asked friends to use male pronouns, and I would introduce myself as Eli to people, and so I like to say I socially transitioned first with people here in St. Louis and whatnot. Um, it wasn't until October, November last year when things really um, shit hit the fan. I struggle with depression and anxiety, and things just really got super, super shitty. And so I ended up checking myself into a hospital here in St. Louis, and I was there for a week. And then I did 2 weeks of outpatient treatment after that. And during those 3 weeks, I really realized, how much my gender issues really affected me. When I first started questioning my gender, I was researching a lot, watching lots of YouTube videos, to the point where it was really exhausting and unhealthy, and it was really overwhelming. And um, so for a while, for like good 5 6 months, I didn't really talk about my gender. I was still seeing my gender therapist, but we were talking about just life things, and even with my friends and stuff. Like I just didn't really bring it up to them, but during that period of time, I was realizing, it was hard for me to figure out which bathroom to use. It was really hard to hear other people misread me as female when I wanted to be read as male. So those things were definitely affecting me. I don't want to say that my gender issues is like the cause of my depression and anxiety. I think that like my mental illness stems from just the fact that it just is what it is, and there's this chemical imbalance in my body, and I had taken myself off medication, and then like after going into the hospital and whatnot, I got back on it, and now things are great and dandy. But so yeah, November, my parents came down to visit me because they were worried about me and whatnot, and I realized that I needed to come out to them, um, and that they already knew I was queer, but I came out to them in November, and I had come out to my brother and sister earlier in the year, but like I still told them I was trying to still figure things out. But when I came out to my parents, I definitely like knew I was trans. I for the longest time didn't identify as trans. I had like this internalized transphobia because um, I couldn't relate to other trans people or like the stories that I've read and watched and whatnot, and I just yeah, it made me uncomfortable to identify as trans, so I just told everyone I was genderqueer. But I don't know, like one day everything clicked after I came out to my parents. Everything just clicked. I was probably watching some video on YouTube, and I was like, I don't have to feel like I was born in the wrong body. Because I don't feel that way. But there's no part of me that really identifies with being female. I would rather live my life and be read as male. That's not to say that I'm not like your stereotypical male. I'm very comfortable with my feminine side now. Now that I've come to terms with my gender identity, I'm super comfortable with that side. But I'm also there are qualities of me that are very masculine, and the way I present is very masculine. Um, so yeah, like 2 weeks after I came out to my parents, I realized that like I needed to start hormones. I needed to move forward with that. And so the next time I met with my therapist, I told him, hey, I want to move forward and I would like to start hormones as soon as possible. And so January of this year I started, and it's been great ever since. And yeah, that's pretty much how I came to terms with my trans identity. I'm still learning a lot of things. I've realized a lot of things. I've learned a lot about myself. I've definitely opened my eyes up to gender and sexual orientation and just things. Everything queer theory, gender theory, all that stuff. I've been researching and learning a lot about it, and it's definitely becoming a huge interest in my life. Um, but yeah, think I'm rambling, but that's pretty much how I came to terms with my trans identity. Everyone figures it out differently. I've met lots of kids. I work with the LGBT youth here in St. Louis, and I've met a lot of kids that just know. These are like young kids, like 12, 13 years old, that just know that they're trans, and that there's something different about them. And I think that I would never trade my experience for anything. I think that maybe I would have transitioned earlier if I had been more educated about the subject. I think if it wasn't for the fact that I had met these uh, trans friends of mine, I don't think that I would have questioned myself. And for that, I'm incredibly thankful that, have met these people. And yeah, so um, that's pretty much it. I've heard that the other lady and gentleman on this channel have been recording some pretty long videos, so I'm gonna cut it here and keep this somewhat short. But yeah, that's pretty much my story. If you have any questions, whatnot, message the channel somewhere. One of us will get it. I'll also link you to my personal channel below and my personal Tumblr and whatnot. But yeah, I will see you guys back here in 2 weeks. Hopefully, I won't be too drugged up. Top surgery's next Thursday. So, but yeah, I will talk to you all soon. Until next time, take it easy.